And a few months ago, it was up to 265, and the last time I looked, it was like 319 now.
Oh, and I love ground turkey, man. It makes the best sloppy joes out there, doesn't it?
It does, but it's going up in price, and so is everything else as far as the...
You know, my wife pointed that out on turkey bacon. She said this is like 3 times what it was a year ago. Everything's going up. But there's no inflation, John, because the government said so. And don't be a conspiracy theorist.
Another thing, Alex, about the United Nations system, we're into it a lot of big ways, but we're into it in small ways, too. I'm looking at a box of firecrackers left over from New Year's, and it used to be when I was a kid, it said Class C common fireworks, but now it says UN 1.4G. That's a United Nations designation on it. And when you buy small arms ammunition, if you buy it by the case, it's got a UN designation on the side. They got the UN signs up in front of the National Forest saying, hey, that we own the property now.
You know what's funny? They've even put up UN NGOs at the hike and bike trails, and I'm so conditioned now. I'd left my iPhone, hidden in the trunk of my car. I was going on a hike, and I didn't even go back and get it because it was on down the path about a quarter mile. I've been conditioned to just accept it, and I did see a blurb where there's UN designations under the UNIDIR regulation on ammo. For now, about 2 years, they denominate Postal Service on international shipments according to SDRs, which is that global cashless currency. And you're right, we're already in this thing, and we're just taking it. And now, I heard this 6 months ago and didn't believe it till I saw it. New ammo is being shipped out internationally, I guess if it's for the military, and they're micro-etching some of the bullets, and I didn't believe that. They're just doing whatever they want. They're doing whatever they want, John.
And go to a toy store. Go to a toy store and look at the toy Army soldiers and see something that says U.S. Army Fighting Men or U.S. Army Soldiers. It's not there. It's all world peacekeepers now. I have
made that point for 10 years. In fact, will you run back to Tim Frugier, because they cleaned out the warehouse, and there were all the props, things I'd bought over 15 years, have just continually gotten put into, different offices. And there was a big pile of toys I'd seen in stores where it was all UN soldier this, UN soldier that, global peace force. And I said, hey, give me that a few weeks ago. And I don't know where they just asked him, give me the UN toys. Just folks, run, get them to bring me the UN toys. Listen, I've been in stores and you can't find, because I've got 3 children, you cannot find tanks or airplanes or army men that don't say UN. And the cartoons are all the same. But the propaganda's gone on a long time. I let my children watch the old cheesy 60s Godzilla movies when they're really good and do good at their homeschool, like once a month, because it's guys in a gorilla suit or a dinosaur suit. Like last night we watched half of King Kong versus Godzilla. Totally cheesy, great comedy for adults. A guy in looks like a $100 monkey suit fighting with a guy in a $100 dinosaur suit. And I mean, even the 4-year-old doesn't get scared by it, so we let him watch that every once in a while. But the whole thing is how the UN Army's this, the UN Army that, the UN sub, the UN satellite. The propaganda's always been there. It's everywhere. I even let the kids occasionally watch Mayberry, the Andy Griffith show. And it's got propaganda in it. Well said, my friend.
Another thing, Alex, is I don't understand how we're totally in the system. It's totally in our face. And I don't know how people can deny it now. There's no denying it anymore. It's totally
questioning known liars. They actually say, I've seen articles saying it's a conspiracy theory that there's higher inflation. It's a conspiracy theory there's world government. They're questioning known liars. I know I say this a lot, folks, because it's so true. If you question known liars, you are a conspiracy theorist. You're supposed to just believe known liars. Thank you for the call. Peter in Washington, then I'll hold you over if your call goes long. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a small thing. I want to refer to the Stanford magazine, which is well known as the Harvard of the West. And the cover story says, the help with the fortune that made from eBay and the cachet of Hollywood, Jeff Skoll tackles the world's most dire problems. Now, I'm not going to refer to much of the article, but I'll read this sentence. Skoll, who has promised to give away the majority of his wealth as part of the Bill Gates, Warren Buffett philanthropic pledge, seems personally content. Well, just one more name to add to your list, and that's all I'll say, okay?
Thank you, sir. But, I mean, the point here is this is a club the billionaires get in where they're tax exempt and get to make even bigger profits. I hope folks understand this is all a scam.
I understand it's a scam, and I just wanted one more name to the list, okay?
No, thank you, sir. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I'll just say that I graduated from Stanford many years ago, and I've watched the trend. It's gone from liberal to globalist liberal, and I just thought I'd mention it on the show. And thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you, sir. We'll be right back with some big news on the TSA that just broke.
Folks,
if you're watching on Prisonplanet.tv, you can see just a smattering of children's toys that you can get at Toys R Us or anywhere. That's police and military heroes set wearing black ski masks, and they've all got hateful looks on their faces. When I was just a child, the bad guys would have those type of looks on their faces, and the good guys would be smiling or have a normal face. But now the good guys have hateful looks showing their teeth, and they'll have a good checkpoint for you and give you a forced inoculation. And if you pan over here, almost every toy, well, not almost, I can never find U.S. military toys, world peacekeepers. And every show, whether it's the Fantastic Four, old or new, whatever show I see cartoons, because quite frankly, when I do watch TV occasionally, I'll watch cartoons. I mean, it's just all anti-family, anti-America, UN saving us. When aliens attack the Earth, it's the UN. It's predictive programming. World peacekeepers. 12 inches, fully posable action figure and accessories. And he is a military special force of world peacekeeping. And now I see the military ads, and it's like something out of a dystopic futuristic movie where if I wanted to show an evil force, but it's propaganda ads of a force for good, a force to fight evil and tyranny everywhere. That's the Marines. And it's not even a good voiceover guy. I was watching this in the office the other night. It sounds like a guy trying to sound fake tough, like, a force for good, a force globally for freedom. We run towards the threat. I mean, it wasn't even like a cool voice like, battling tyranny worldwide, doing what it takes to defend the Republic. It was like, I'm big, I'm bad. Even more awesomer. All right, I'm now ranting. If you're not watching on the radio, all you got to do is, if you're not watching on prisonplanet.tv and you're listening to the radio, all you got to do is just pull into a toy store and walk into the military toy section, and it's all global government. These are the good guys right here. Ones with the really hateful looks. That's the tough guys over there. Radio listeners are like, what are you talking about? Well, anybody with children's seen it. For the last decade, you can find nothing but UN police toys. Even the Playmobil things. It's like, oh, checkpoint police. Oh, checkpoint army. Oh, TSA police. It actually shows the Playmobil groping people. So this is just the full conditioning. They have microwave oven, little deals. Oh, put the toy in there. Let's go to Dennis in Iowa. Dennis, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, it's a pleasure to talk to you, Alex. You do a hell of a job, buddy.
Well, I tried.
Well, you try very good. Hey, I was wondering, for your listeners, and I want to ask you if you also know about this, Chuck E. Cheese Schumer and Scott Brown have been putting legislation out there. They want to bring in 11,000 more E3 visa workers in this country when so many Americans are out of work now. And then by the time you add into the visas for all their spouses and children, this is a big deal in my mind. Have you heard about it? And I just wanted to let your listeners know about it in case they haven't heard about it.
Yeah, that's the highly skilled people, right?
No.
That's the low skilled.
The only requirements on this one is that they have 2 years of minimal work experience in the field.
Yeah, no, I'd seen that. I'd seen that they want the unskilled visas, which are pointless, and they want more high-skilled ones. All I know is that the high-skilled people come here, learn their trade, and then are sent back by the globalists to set up factories overseas, and then there's tax incentives to leave the United States. But, yeah, I did see a blurb a few weeks ago that they want more unskilled visas, which are just pointless. So that's a good point. I mean, look, none of these other countries allow this type of exploitation. Globalism has not been good for our country, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I get confused, all the visa terms and names, but I need to look into that more.
Another short, funny thing for you, Alex. I'm a registered independent. I have gotten like 5 times now in the mail this crap from Obama campaign with his pretty little black and white picture in it, wanting me to donate. I pull the envelope out, and even on the envelope it says, you can save our campaign money if you place a stamp on it. It is postage paid, but you can save us money if you put your own stamp on it. I don't put a stamp on it. I drop a washer in the envelope, I seal it, and I mail it back to him.
Ha ha ha!
Just a little humor there for you.
No, you could put like 100 washers, or get a small child's bowling ball and put it inside the envelope, and then it has the postage. Just tape it with the postage sticking out and mail them the bowling ball.
Funny thing is I keep getting them back again. I mean, the same thing in the mail. I mean, you would think they would stop and, hey, let's don't send this guy.
No, it's all robotically done, and that's how you can beat this automated globalist system, is that they just count on you complying with it. By the way, the TSA now says pay them $100 and they won't grope you. Wall Street Journal, I'm not joking. $100 to fly through the airport without a groping. Pay them protection money. I might actually pay it. I'm joking. We are back live. I'm Alex Jones, your host, here on this Friday edition. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Congressman Jones joining us, and I really appreciate Representative Walter B. Jones coming on. He was first sworn into the U.S. House of Representatives in '95 after serving 10 years as an elected member of the North Carolina General Assembly. And he's currently serving his 9th term in Congress, and he's the only member of Congress I've read about who's actually personally signed a letter to each and every family and written a personal letter to 10,000 plus families of servicemen that have been killed in the line of duty. And we again, that is a personal touch that is so important that members of Congress do that when they are ultimately sending people into these wars. And we appreciate him doing that as well. Now, as you know, listeners, because I've talked a lot about this, Representative Jones, Congressman Jones, has spent a lot of time in the last week and a half pointing out that the Secretary of Defense, Panetta, was wrong when he said, no, we don't need congressional approval or authorization to go to war. We get that from the UN and NATO. We've seen members of the Supreme Court, current and former, say we should get our law from the UN, which has such a terrible past. America has been the example of liberty, not the United Nations, but the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11, states it's a high crime, impeachable, if any president launches wars without congressional approval. Now, when you do that, not just on your own, but say a foreign power authorizes you, I think that rises even above a high crime. And joining us is the congressman from North Carolina, Walter Jones. Sir, thank you very much for joining us and introducing legislation to hold any president accountable if they try to launch wars without congressional approval. Thank you for joining us.
Well, Alex, thank you. My concern goes back, the initial concern was when President Clinton decided to bomb Bosnia without approval of Congress. I joined 31 members of the House, 3 Democrats and 28 Republicans, joined Congressman at the time, Tom Campbell, who now is